Hi, it's Raina Nisus from A Season of Caring, and I'm so glad that you joined me today. I wanted to talk a little bit about emotions. We've talked before about the fact that sometimes we become a family caregiver because of a big accident or a catastrophe that's happened, and it's totally made our parents dependent on us. Sometimes it's just a slow progression, and they find that they're needing a little bit more help just to keep doing the things that they've always done before. But caregiving, it can be tougher than we realize, and oftentimes we go into it with a great attitude and feel like we love our parents, so it's no big deal. But the longer it goes, the more we can find ourselves experiencing some negative emotions about being a family caregiver. And so it's important that we stop to talk about those emotions. I always think of emotions as this big flag that's just kind of waving over here. Are we paying attention to it? I don't know. We can kind of just look the other way, right? But it still waves and it waves and it waves. And the reason why those emotions are there is they're trying to get our attention. They're waving at us going, hey, pay attention to me. And so we need to pay attention to what emotions we have. And we really need to stop thinking about them as being good emotions or bad emotions, because that's part of why we avoid them, because we think of them as being good or bad. So stopping to think about the emotion that we're experiencing and realize that it's there for a reason. It's there to clue us in to something that's concerning to us and find out how we can make some changes to deal with that problem that's causing that emotion. Sometimes we can't eliminate the problem. You know, when my dad stopped calling me by name and didn't recognize me as his daughter anymore, I couldn't change that. And it brought a lot of sadness, and it was very difficult at times. So I just needed to realize that that was where we were, and that was part of what it was about. But it didn't mean that he didn't love me, and it didn't mean that he didn't appreciate all that I was doing for him. It just meant he no longer had those memories or couldn't access them any longer. So I want you to think about the emotions that you're experiencing. I think sometimes we're just so busy going that we forget to stop and think about it. So I want to challenge you to reflect and think about the emotions that you're experiencing. Do you even have a name for them? Can you even put your finger on them? That's the very first step. And oftentimes the emotions we label negative, we just push away, try to ignore, or stuff. And those can have some pretty negative consequences. In fact, the Family Caregivers Alliance tells us that some of those emotions, those negative emotions that we're experiencing, if we're stuffing them, we can find some of these negative side effects. We can have problems sleeping, we can have illnesses, we can have difficulty coping with just life in general, we might stress eat, and we might even abuse substances. None of those things do we want to find happening, because they'll affect our ability to just care for our parents as we want to. So we've got to deal with these negative emotions. And that's why I started Take Heart Tuesdays. Take Heart Tuesdays are a day we're just going to talk about emotions that you might be experiencing. I'm going to help us identify some of those feelings and then also take the time to talk about how to cope with those feelings. So I hope that you find this helpful. I think it really will make a difference if we stop to think about, put a name on the emotion we're feeling, and then dig in and figure out what's causing it to see what we can do to make the changes we need to make. I hope you find this helpful too, and take heart in your season of caring.